welcome back to my channel. My name is Naomi Rook. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to ring the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I do upload a video. The video for today is going to be my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes in my entire collection. If I could only keep 10 of my eyeshadow palettes, which ones would I keep? This was so hard because eyeshadow palettes are my absolute favorite item of makeup. I really love playing with new ones. I love cool, unique color stories. So I had a really hard time with this, but I think I did kind of dwindle it down to my top 10, honorably mentioning 11, but we will get into that in just a moment. These are some that just either I love the color story, the formula is my favorite, the theme about it, or there's some type of sentimental value to it. So if you'd like to see my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes of all time, then just keep watching. I'm not going to be ranking these eyeshadow palettes. These are just my top 10 equal favorite palettes. There is no way I could try to rank all of these. Some of them are recent discoveries, some of them I have loved for years. So let's go ahead and hop into it. The first one I picked up is the Black Moon Cosmetics Urban Myth. First off, I love the packaging. I love the whole theme, the Urban Myth, the Yeti, the Skinwalker, the alien. I think that's super cool. If you know me personally, you know I'm super into all of those type of urban myths, the conspiracy theories, the aliens. I really am into all of that. So I love the theme. I love the little mirror. It's a alien saucer. But these eyeshadow palettes are incredible. Their formula is so blendable and so nice, really creamy. So the colors in this palette are really beautiful. The mattes are super creamy and blendable. I love the metallics. There are 3 different formulas. These ones are a little flaky but have a lot of payoff. These 2 in the middle, they're kind of like sheer toppers. I think they're so beautiful because they have a really beautiful, almost duochrome reflex. And then this red is the most like solid metallic red. I'll go ahead and swatch some of these. But that is why I just really love this palette, because the formula is so special and unique. They really blend out really well. Super beautiful and so fun to just play with. I'm really inspired, and some of my absolute most favorite looks I've ever done have been with this palette. So there is the silver and the green. I just really love that they're not super heavy metallics. They're just kind of light sheer toppers, and then that red one is like super intense pigment. There are the mattes. I really love the color story of this palette. So next, this would not be a video of mine if I didn't mention at least one, if not a couple, of Jeffree Star's eyeshadow palettes. I really love his formula. So the first one I'm going to mention is the Jawbreaker palette. This is the absolute most perfect rainbow palette for me. I have this one rainbow palette and I do not need another one. This is so nice. I really love the dark jewel tones. I love the metallics in here. I like some of the pastels. There's some really bright colors and there's these really pretty light metallics. I love this palette so much. Definitely my favorite rainbow palette that I own. I really love his formula. It is one of my favorites, and I just love this palette so much. There's a few more of the swatches of the mattes. It's just a really fun, colorful, springtime, summer eyeshadow palette. I love it, and if I'm needing, like I said, anything super bright, vivid, rainbow, I go to this palette every time, so I definitely am putting this in my top 10 favorites. Next, I had to mention both of my BH Cosmetics holiday collections. I really love these palettes. This is the holiday palette from 2020. I really love these eyeshadow palettes. They give me tons of options. I like the formula a lot, and I just really enjoy the color story. I will go ahead and swatch some of these. So there are the metallics. Look how beautiful and shiny. They look wet on the eyes. And then there are some of the mattes. Look at that pigmentation. I know I probably shouldn't be mentioning this palette or the other, the Lit List, but I just really love their palettes, and in my collection those are limited edition. So if I could only keep 10, I would absolutely keep these because they are limited edition and no longer available. And here is the Lit List palette. This is probably my favorite of the 2. The metallics, there are a lot more metallics in this one than in the other one. I really love the everyday super wearable colors in this palette. So there are the metallics in that palette. Look how stunning. These palettes from BH Cosmetics have an incredible formula. I'm not sure if it's the same as their small ones because I haven't tried any of their small palettes, but these ones are really nice. So I would definitely keep this one and the Naughty List in my collection. The next one is a really sentimental palette to me. This is the Sydney Grace X Mel Thompson, the Tiny Marvels palette. I bought this palette because I really enjoyed Mel Thompson as a person. I loved her videos. I think she was just incredible. I'd never tried Sydney Gray, so when she came out with this Tiny Marvels palette, the color story spoke to me. The artwork is so beautiful. I really love that. So I definitely wanted to try this. I have done some of my favorite looks using this palette. I really am glad that I purchased this, and then after that she passed, I have just loved having this in my collection to remember her, I guess, in a way, because I think she was an incredible person and I would hate to, you know, not forget about her, but I really do love having this as a memorial to her. The colors are absolutely stunning. I did a look the other day for my Instagram and I just loved how it turned out. Super metallic and beautiful. Really love this palette. I'm really glad I own it and I will never get rid of it. The next one is another one that is no longer available. This is another one of my favorite YouTubers. This is Colourpop So Jaded. This is a collaboration with Kathleen Lights. I love this palette so much. I think the color story is absolutely stunning. I don't really like a lot of these big palettes except for when they are just different. There's no overlaying colors. They have a really cool, unique, coordinated color story. This one absolutely does. I will do some swatches. So I really love this. I have loved this for a very long time. It has been in my collection ever since it came out. I think I bought this on the release day because like I said, I really like Kathleen Lights and the colors are just absolutely stunning. So there are some of the colors, super beautiful. And there are a few more, the black and the silver, really beautiful. This is another palette that I will never declutter from my collection. The next one is a bit newer, but this is the Made by Mitchelle Feet on the Ground. I love this palette. I love the color story. I really love greens and grungy colors. So any palette with greens and grungy colors, I get tons of use out of. I love this one so much. I used this one yesterday. I used some of these more bright colors. I really love the palette. I love all the neutrals and all the transition colors. They're just so beautiful. I really like his formula a lot. Some of the metallics can be a little bit more hit and miss. They're not super thick metallics. They're a bit kind of more like toppers as well. So there are those colors. Not super pigmented, but I do like it as a topper. I can definitely appreciate that type of formula where they just look really nice over maybe a matte color. I love this palette a lot. The mattes are really pigmented, and there are some of the mattes, super pigmented. The next one is one of my absolute favorite in my collection, Jeffree Star Alien. I know this was not everyone's favorite just because of the size of the packaging, but of course, because it's an alien, I love that. But the color story is so beautiful. It is that green, grungy, dark, kind of pukier colors. My favorite color story. Like I said, I just love these type of colors. I love his formula. I think it's just a stunning palette. So there are some of the metallics. I hate that this was limited edition, but I'm so glad that I have one of them to play with them. And this is definitely one of my top favorite eyeshadow palettes. I really love it. I think it's beautiful. The next one is one of my favorites, but it's because I love having a all matte neutral eyeshadow palette. So this is another one of Jeffree Star's eyeshadow palettes. This is a really great gradient from very light white to darker neutral browns. I love this because if I'm needing any type of brown eyeshadows, I want neutral or cool tone. This one is so perfect for that. There's barely any warmth. There's a couple that teeter a little warm, but this is really great because I love having those cool tone neutral browns. They blend really well. If I'm needing any type of browns for a neutral eye, I jump into this one. So I would definitely keep this in my collection. I will not declutter. I do not like the name of it very much. It is a beautiful, stunning eyeshadow palette that is a necessity in my collection to have all those beautiful neutral mattes. And then to pick out the 10th was a little difficult. I am trying to decide between two palettes. They're both from Unicorn Cosmetics. One is the Angel palette and one is the Wicked palette. This is so difficult because I really love the layout of their eyeshadow palettes. They have big eyeshadows, but then they also have all these half pans, so you get twice as many colors, and I don't normally go through an entire eyeshadow palette or eyeshadow color very often, if ever. So I really love the color story of this. Their two palettes are like the two sides of me. So this is the dark green, grungy, fall, winter, beautiful eyeshadow palette if I'm going to go for something a little bit darker. But the Angel eyeshadow palette is just as gorgeous, and it's like a spring summer gorgeous. It has the same layout where it's a half pan. It has like a spring fairy-esque types color story. So I love both of these palettes equally, so it's very hard and I cannot decide which one to add. So I'm just going to sit here and swatch both of them. I really do love both of these eyeshadow palettes. Formula is really nice. It's more of a sheer formula, which I think is kind of more my preferred formula because it never looks heavy on the eyelids. I don't know if you've ever tried a metallic that kind of looks just really heavy on your eyelids where they look kind of cakey, but these ones are so sheer and they have a really beautiful reflect. They're very light. What I like to do with those is just pile on a bunch of mattes and then put one metallic on top of it. It makes for a beautiful, really whimsical type look. There are some of the mattes. They're just so beautiful. I love the pink, the light little periwinkle purple, the greens. And then on the complete opposite side of the spectrum is the Wicked. I just love these so much if I'm wanting dark, grungy colors. So there are the metallics. You can just see it's definitely a little bit more grungy and different. I love this purple right here. It's a really light duochrome from blue to purple. I just love both of these eyeshadow palettes. I really like the formula. I like the color store. I think they're both really beautiful palettes. And there are some of the mattes. I just really like Unicorn Cosmetics formula. So if you're like picking between the two, you can see both and see which one would kind of match you better. But I know it's cheating to add 2 because it's technically 11, but I am a Gemini, so I cannot decide which side of me you're going to get on which day. So I need to have the Wicked and the Angel just to cover all the bases. Thank you so much for watching. I think this is going to be my last of all my favorite videos from the past year. We're going to start in February, start up with brand new makeup, new try-ons, a little bit of product reviews, and continue on with that. But I really wanted to spend January kind of going through my collection, decluttering. I'm still continuing my declutter collection, talk about all my favorite stuff, and then move on from here. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.